Tadiya Sarasi Har Lake Sri Radha Kunda Tam. Hare Krishna. If you're not speaking, please go on mute. Tadiya Sarasi Har Lake Sri Radha Kunda Tam Radha Kunda Na not Ashrayet would take shelter of Kah who Kriti most fortunate. Translation. In the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, Gyanis, one who is practically liberated by the virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prema, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her kunda, lake, is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radha Kunda and in a spiritual body surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings? Aprakrita bhava. Render loving service to the divine couple Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Ashtakaliya Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radha Kunda are the most fortunate people in the universe. Hare Krishna. So, to prepare this class, I was listening to a few lectures, and it is mentioned that nectar of instruction is a set of instructions given for the devotees. Srila Prabhupada, for the Bhakti Shastri course, have prescribed certain books, 4 books mainly, or Srimad Bhagavad Gita, which is a general Vedic book, which is referred to by everyone who is and worshipped by anyone who is on the path of Vedic, who is trying to follow the Vedic life, spiritual life. Then second book is Srimad Bhagavatam, and that is for Vaishnavas in general. Okay? And then comes Nectar of Instruction and Nectar of Devotion. And these books are primarily for those who are, and Chaitanya Charitamrita is primarily for those who are followers of Gaudiya Vaishnava and want to go deeper into the further gradation and much deeper, and whose goal is not just the Vaikuntha Dham, but the goal is Goloka Dham. And in the Goloka Dham, so the verse number 9 and this verse is actually doing a comparison. So the last verse, verse number 9, was actually comparison of the places, where it starts by comparing that among all the places. Go back to that verse. Among all the places, Mathura is superior to Vaikuntha because that is where uh, Krishna appeared. And then superior to Mathura is Vrindavan, because that's where Krishna did his pastimes, especially Ras Leela. And even superior to Vrindavan is Govardhan Hill, because Lord personally lifted it and he had various loving pastimes there. Uh, and among even those, the Radha Kund stands even superior. Okay? So, similarly, in this particular verse, verse number 10, there is comparison, and there is comparison of the various spiritualists or transcendentalists, okay, we can say. Now, the very first word is karmibhya, then all fruity workers. Now, in our regular conversations of our ISKCON, we call karmis as those who are the fruity workers and not on the path of spiritual life. Their main goal is sense gratification without the basis of Shastra. But here, the the karmis who are being referred in this particular verse, is Girish Chaitanya Charan Prabhu was referring to as that those people who are engaged in the karma kanda section. So they are on the path of the spiritual life. Now, it is being said that but their goal is still the sense gratification, but through the prescribed methods in the karma kanda section of the Vedas. So with that, they can go all the way up to that Srila Prabhupada here explains that they can go all the way up to the higher planetary systems. But it is just like we can understand that if you have money, you can buy ticket for, let's say, for lack of better example, for Disney World. But as you're and then you can go and then enjoy, or you can go to some other place and enjoy, those who like it. But once your ticket period is over, once your money is over, you have to come back. Okay? So similarly, those who are on the strength of their pious activity are actually elevated to the higher planetary system. They are actually, once their piety gets over, they use it towards enjoying in the higher planetary system. They come back down. So that is what is the karmis. Now, above those are mentioned here jnanis. Okay. Now, another thing which Prabhuji mentions, that Srila Prabhupada's translations are different than other literal translations, because Prabhupada would even include his part of the purport too. So if you see there is literal translation, you may not find it directly into you may not find the Sanskrit translation and literal translation And he was sharing a pastime that uh, towards the uh, end of his earthly pastimes, Srila Prabhupada would tell his disciples to uh, copy the translations from another publisher, and they'll say, "Oh, that's plagiarism. That's not correct." And Prabhupada's argument was, "Well, those words are Krishna's words, and then there cannot be a copyright on translation. This translation is something which is just converting from one word, one language to another language, and there cannot be much difference between one translation versus another translation. The main part is the purpose, which is providing the context of the thing being said. So that's why Prabhupada's, a lot of time we'll see that Prabhupada's translations are actually mixed with the purport starts right in the translation. So now it is being said here that above the karmis are jnanis. And then New Prabhupada quotes this verse, wonderful. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. Okay? Who actually is in knowledge, Jnanavan. And Acharya has explained that Jnani and Jnanavan are two categories. Jnanis are the ones who are the uh, abhyasakas or sadhakas or student of knowledge. And Jnanavans are the possessor of the knowledge. So there are many types of jnanis, like those who are engaged in study of the material, or sometimes we call it nescience, or they are also called jnanis, but in spiritual terms they are not called jnanis, they are called karmis. They come under the category of karmis, and not the karmis which is being described in this particular verse. This we already clarified that the karmis described in this particular verse are those who are following the karma kanda section of the Vedas. So those jnanis are why they are called karmis or fruitive workers, is because their main purpose of accumulating knowledge is to lord over the material world. Okay? So that's why they come under the purview of karma. Okay? So then the next set of jnanis are the jnanis who are into the analytical study of the this material world and oneself. Okay? And as they progress on their path of accumulating knowledge, they through after going through multiple births and deaths, they become Jnanavan. And once they become Jnanavan, what is the knowledge that they have possessed? That Vasudeva Sarvamiti. That is that knowing me to be the cause of all causes. There is nothing beyond Vasudeva. No, there is nothing beyond Krishna. Krishna is the source of all. And so Mahatma, and at that point they are Mahatmas and they are Sudurlabhas. They are very rare. Okay. Now, Once they have realized this, we can we can also Prabhuji Chaitanya Charan Prabhu explains that uh, bhakti is actually uh, he explains that any action or activity has jnana and karma both uh, together engaged. Okay, the ratio or the proportion can be different, uh, but that is the result of one's knowledge. So similarly, once even a bhakti yogi can be engaged into the uh, karma or jnana.
Hello.
Um, Mataji,
Yes.
if you can go on mute. So, for example, he takes an example of Srila Prabhupada, that from outside one may look at the activities of Srila Prabhupada that he is so much passionately engaged in traveling all over the world and uh, erecting so many temples, all over the world, engaged into accumulating disciples and writing so many books. So that looks like very passionate work. Uh, that looks like a lot of work for a old age person. But those who are engaged into bhakti yoga, uh, they are they can they can do a lot of karma uh, for the pleasure of the Lordship. Similarly, those who are, we can see that Srila Prabhupada is, or some other devotee is engaged into reading and understanding a lot of Shastras, reading and um, giving a lot of classes, in writing a lot of books, giving a lot of lectures, running discourses, and that is the activity in the uh, category of Gyan or Gyani. So, but that is not the Gyan, Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga. That is actually Bhakti Yoga. Being as part of Bhakti Yoga, these activities or actions are being followed. Okay? And then we can, from here, we can start the next part of our. So, materialists who work hard like dogs and hogs simply for sense gratification are actually let's read through the entire purpose, one para at a time. So, at the present moment, almost everyone is engaged in some kind of fruitive activities. Those who are desirous of gaining material profits by working are called karmis or fruitive workers. All living entities within this material world have come under the spell of Maya. This is described in Vishnu Puran. Vishnu Sakti Paraprokta Kshetra Kshetra व्याख्या तथा परा अविद्या कर्म समग समज्ञान्या तृतीया शक्तिर ईष्यते. sages with Sages have divided the energy of the supreme personality of Godhead into three categories, namely the spiritual energy, material energy, and marginal energy. The material energy is considered to be the third class energy, Tritiya Shakti. Those living beings within the jurisdiction of material energy sometimes engage themselves like dogs and hogs in working very hard simply for sense gratification. However, in this life or after executing pious activities in the next life, some karmis become strongly attracted to performing various kinds of sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. This is the karma kandis. Thus, on the strength of their pious merit, they are elevated to heavenly planets. Actually, those who perform sacrifices strictly according to Vedic injunctions are elevated to the moon planets and above the moon, as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 9.21. Chine punye mritya lokam vishanti. Uh, after exhausting the results of their so-called pious activities, they again return to the earth planet, which is called Martyaloka, the place of death. Although such persons may be elevated to heavenly planets by their pious activities, and although they may enjoy life there for many thousands of years, they nonetheless must return to this planet when the result of their pious activities are exhausted. So, uh, as we discussed, that uh, there are three categories of Supreme Personalities energies called uh, Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and Bahiranga Shakti, or the spiritual energy, marginal energy, and material energy. And we are the spirit soul, we are the marginal potency. And based on our provided freedom, we can either associate more with material energy or with spiritual energy. As we discussed in today morning's class, some of you are there, that this is because once we are into this material body, our consciousness has contaminated, and our activities are non-Krishna conscious activities. They are more towards the pleasure of these senses. But in our pure consciousness, our activities will be Krishna conscious activities, centered around pleasing the senses of Supreme Lord. So, because we are in this material body, we may act like dogs and hogs and work very hard. In fact, many even materialists say that once you die, all the money, all the wealth which is left unenjoyed, all the bank balance which is left is uh, the amount of work you did extra that was not needed um, to live happily in this world. Okay. So we do not need to work like dogs and hogs, okay, for simply uh, for the sense gratification. Okay. Yeah, there are devotees who work very hard, but their purpose is the uh, serving the senses, serving the devotees, and then serving the senses of the Supreme Lord. Okay. So, for example, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they had a lot of wealth, and when they retired, they divided it into three parts. They gave 25% to their near and dear ones, 50% to for Krishna service, and then remaining 25% was for their later needs. So we need to follow on such footsteps. So that is what is recommended. If we don't do that, and we are just engaged in some kind of karma kanda activities which are prescribed in the Vedas, we do get some punya and we get elevated. But just as the example we took of, some amusement park, going to some amusement park, once your um, once your ticket time is over, you have to return back to reality. Okay? So similarly, chine punye mritya lokam vishanti. Now let's look at the next paragraph. This is the position of all karmis, including those who act piously and those who act impiously. On this planet, we find many businessmen, politicians, and others who are simply interested in material happiness. They attempt to earn money by all means, not considering whether such means are pious or impious. Such people are called karmis or gross materialists. Among the karmis are some vikarmis, people who act without the guidance of Vedic knowledge. Those act on the basis of Vedic knowledge, perform sacrifices for the satisfaction of Lord Vishnu, and to receive benedictions from him. In this way, they are elevated to higher planetary systems. Such karmis are superior to vikarmis, for they are faithful to the directions of the Vedas and are certainly dear to Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam tathaiva rajamyaham. In whatever way one surrenders unto me, I reward him accordingly. Krishna is so kind that he fulfills the desires of all the karmis and jnanis, not to speak of the bhakta. Although the karmis are sometimes elevated to higher planetary systems, as long as they remain attached to fruitive activities, they must accept new material bodies after death. If one acts piously, he can attain a new body among the demigods in the higher planetary system, or he may attain some other positions in which he can enjoy a higher standard of material happiness. On the other hand, those who are engaged in impious activities are degraded and take birth as animals, trees, and plants. Thus, those fruitive actors who do not care for the Vedic directions, vikarmis, are not appreciated by learned saintly persons. So here, Srila Prabhupada is introducing this concept of that even the karmis are of two types. Actually, Bhagavad Gita describes that there are three types of karmas we do: vikarma, karma, and akarma. Okay? Vikarma is something where one is not regarding what is the Vedic injunction, whether this is good or bad. The primary purpose is to accumulate as much of material wealth and use it for sense gratification. For example, we see that there are so many slaughterhouses which are primarily built on that entire wealth is built on killing of the animals. Even while killing of the animals, they engage in so many ghastly activities. Other day, I saw an advertisement where there is a chicken producing organization, and their advertisement, the full page in the newspaper, was about that how we treat our chickens very nicely, and we do not inject in them any kind of antibiotics. Because we keep their environment clean and healthy, they do not have to go through this injection of antibiotics. All our other competitors are injecting so many antibiotics and keeping their chickens environment very unhealthy. So what we stand for is happy chickens. Think about how silly that is, that the whole purpose they are producing and raising chicken is so that they can slaughter them, kill them. And on the other side, they're talking about that how they're keeping their chickens so happy. So that is called the karmis who are actually taking the path of vikarma. They are actually vikarmis. We see that there are so many of them who are engaged into creating drugs, which they don't care about. They find all the means of distributing. There is one very famous drug lord from Colombia, Pablo Escobar. Uh, what he did was he will find different means to send drugs to other countries, and one of the means was that he will actually do operate all the pregnant ladies and fill up their stomach with drugs. And once the ladies cross the border, uh, they will be operated again to take out the drugs from their body. Now, in certain cases, the plastic wrapper burst, and those ladies died because of the overdose of drugs in their body. And that is how the custom and the police got to know that this is one means. Now, just for making money, this person did not care about even the pregnant ladies and then young girls. Those are the people who are vikarmis, and in their next life they are degraded. Their birth is degraded. On the other side are karmis, who are engaged in good work from the material point of view. For example, they are engaged into uh, creating Vruddhashram. They are engaged into uh, making shelter for people who are out of shelter, distributing food, making hospitals, all these dharmshala, different kind of pious activities, schools, orphanage houses. Uh, but from Bhagavad Gita's perspective, they are engaged. They are engaged in karma, and they are uh, getting piety, and based on that piety they will have to take a birth, of course, uh, a better birth, uh, all the way to the demi they may take birth in as demigods or in the higher planetary system and enjoy, but at the end of it they have to come back to birth. But there is this third category which is called akarma. Akarma is something which is done for the pleasure of Supreme Lord, and that is non-binding in nature. That is like a wealth which is put into bank, which is never deteriorating. That's there. That's always going to be there. So we read forward. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Nunam Pramata Kurute Vikarma Yad Indriya Pritaya Apnoti Na Sadhu Manye Yatha Atmanoyam Asanna Api Kleshad Asudeha. Materialists who work hard like dogs and hogs simply for sense gratification are actually mad. They simply perform all kinds of abominable activities simply for sense gratification. Materialistic activities are not at all worthy of an intelligent man, for as a result of such activities, one gets a material body which is full of misery. We discussed this part. The purpose of human life is to get out of the threefold miserable conditions which are con- concomitant with material existence. Concomitant. Unfortunately, fruitive workers are mad to earn money and acquire temporary material comforts by all means. Therefore, they risk being degraded to lower species of life. Materialists foolishly make many plans to become happy in this material world. They do not stop to consider that they will live only for a certain number of years, out of which they must spend the major portion acquiring money for sense gratification. Ultimately, such activities end in death. Materialists do not consider that after giving up the body, they may become embodied as lower animals, plants, or trees. Thus, all their activities simply defeat the purpose of life. Not only are they born ignorant, but they act in the platform of ignorance, thinking that they are getting material benefits in the shape of skyscraper buildings, big cars, honorable positions, and so on. The materialists do not know that in the next life they will be degraded and that all their activities simply serve as parabhav, their defeat. This is the verdict of Srimad Bhagavatam. Parabhavas tavad abodh jata. The same point Srila Prabhupada is underlining here that uh, those who have got the human life, uh, they are under the threefold miserable conditions. That's Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, and Adhyatmik, and that is concomitant with material existence. That comes with the existence of material. That comes as soon as we are into material existence. Okay, let's move on to the next one. One important point he's mentioning that all this hard work done for accumulation that ends right at the fraction of second when the soul departs from this material body. Think about that. Even if, let's say, that richest person in the world, he has built many skyscrapers, owns many skyscrapers, mansions, buildings, and then dies and then takes birth right next door as a very poor boy, and somehow remembers that, oh, just few hours, few days or a few years back, I owned all this property. But that person, even if he knows that, he just can't go and then claim. That same person, from a spiritual perspective, we see the same spirit soul, but that person cannot put a claim on that, because everything was associated with the body, and then with the change of the body, the whole ownership is gone. One should therefore be eager to understand the science of the soul, Atma Tattva. Unless one comes to the platform of Atma Tattva, by which one understands that the soul and not the body is oneself, one remains on the platform of ignorance. Out of thousands and even millions of ignorant people who are wasting their time simply gratifying their senses, one may come to the platform of knowledge and understand higher values of life. Such a person is called Jnani. The Jnani knows that fruitive activities will bind him to material existence and cause him to transmigrate from one kind of body to another, as indicated in Srimad Bhagavatam by the term Sharira Bandha. We also sing this Sharira Vidyajal. As long as one maintains any conception of sense enjoyment, his mind will be absorbed in karma, fruitive activity, and this will oblige him to transmigrate from one body to another body. So again, in this particular verse, Srila Prabhupada is saying that the real knowledge is the knowledge to understand that we are the soul and not the body. Okay? And hence, doing our activities which are for nourishment of the soul, which the activities which will remain with the soul, and not the activities which are which end with the body, and not only end with the body, but they actually result into degraded next birth. Thus, Jnani is considered superior to Karmi because he at least refrains from blind activities of sense enjoyment. This is the verdict of the Supreme Personality of God. However, although a Jnani may be liberated from the ignorance of the Karmis unless he comes to the platform of devotional service, he is still considered to be in ignorance of Vidya. Although one may be accepted as a Jnani or one advanced in knowledge, his knowledge is considered impure because he has no information of devotional service and thus neglects the direct worship of the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of God. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, based on the verdict of Srimad Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, that Jnanis are better than Karmis because they are on the process of path of renunciation, some kind of renunciation, some kind of understanding that I am not this body but the soul. But even there are two types of Jnanis he is telling. One who is on the path of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the other one who is on the who is still at the platform of ignorance, avidya, that is uh, being uh, averse to Krishna. Uh, we can understand this by examples of all these demons in the past. They were jnanis. Right? Sometimes Ravan is referred to as a pandita. Right? Now, the definition of pandita in Bhagavad Gita is different. Right? But from the perspective of knowledge, he was born in a Brahmana family and he knew the Vedas. So, he knew the Vedas from the perspective of maybe just memorization, understand, and reading, but not the real understanding. Okay? And because of that, he did not surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay? So those Gyanis, those kind of Gyanis, people who are pursuing knowledge, sadhakas of knowledge, they are still on the platform of ignorance. When a Jnani takes to devotional service, he rapidly becomes superior to the ordinary Jnani. Such an advanced person is described as Jnana Vimukta Bhakta Parama. Bhakti Parama. How a Jnani takes to devotional service is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.19, which we already read. Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. When somebody has become Jnanavan, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Krishna says, Aham Sarvasya Prabhu. So that's something which Mata Sarvam Pravatati. So a Jnanavan person is the one who understands this, that Vasudeva Sarvamiti, that Krishna is the source of everything. After taking to devotional service under the regulative principles, a person may come to the platform of spontaneous love of Godhead, following in the footsteps of great devotees like Narad and Sanak and Sanatan. The Supreme Personality of Godhead then recognizes him to be superior. The devotees who have developed love of Godhead are certainly in an exalted position. So, once you take up to so now in the comparative study or comparative list of spiritualists, we discussed karmis and jnanis, and now bhaktas, and then being discussed that there is a categorization even in bhaktas. So, those who have taken up the devotional service are at the first stage, but those who practice the devotional service and the regulative principles, the four regulative principles which are described by Srila Prabhupada: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, and no intoxication. Okay? They, by their practice, they come to the spontaneous love of Godhead, following in the footsteps of devotees like Narada and Sanak and Sanatana. So they are superior than the Gyanis who are on the path of devotional service. And of all those devotees, the gopis are recognized as superior because they do not know anything other than satisfying Krishna. So here Srila Prabhupada is explaining that how gopis are among all those who have developed even spontaneous love for Krishna, because gopis' sole focus was Krishna. Even when Krishna left them, they were actually uh, crying for Krishna in the separation. In fact, Mahaprabhu says that uh, that bhav of separation from Krishna and crying in that separation is actually superior than association of Krishna, because actually you are not separated from Krishna. Association of Krishna and thinking about Krishna in the separation is same, because Krishna is uh, absolute. So there is no difference between thinking of Krishna and associating with. Rather, Vipralamba Seva, thinking of Krishna in separation, as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, is far better than serving Krishna directly. Thus, of all the devotees who have developed unalloyed devotional love for Krishna, the gopis are most exalted, and out of those exalted gopis, Srimati Radharani is the highest. No one can excel the devotional service of Srimati Radharani. So this is a she is at a superlative position, and there is nothing beyond her. Um, so it's like absolute statement. No one can excel the devotional service of Srimati. Indeed, even Krishna cannot understand the attitude of Srimati Radha. Therefore, he took her position and appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just to understand her transcendental. In this way, Srila Rupa Goswami gradually concludes that Srimati Radharani is the most exalted devotee of Krishna, and her Kunda, lake, Sri Radha Kunda, is the most exalted place. This is verified in the quotation from Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Uttarakhanda, verse 45, as quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, also mentioned in, I think, Padma Purana. Yatha Radha Priya Vishnu तस्या कुंडम प्रियम तथा सर्वगोपीषु सैवैका विष्णोर अत्यंत वल्लभा. Just as Srimati Radharani is dear to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Vishnu, so her bathing place, Radha Kunda, is equally dear to Krishna. Among all the gopis, she alone stands supreme as the Lord's most beloved. Um, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu again explains that here the word Vishnu is used, not Krishna. And he explains that sometimes when uh, acharyas want to showcase that this is not the material love, they use the term Vishnu also. Therefore, everyone interested in Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter of Radha Kunda and execute devotional service there throughout one's life. This is the conclusion of Rupa Goswami in the 10th verse of Upadeshamrita. Okay. So with that, I'd like to pause here and see if there are any comments, corrections, realizations someone wants to share. Hare Krishna. It's like not many, no questions, comments. So, Sumeshwar Prabhu, are you up? Over to you.
Jai. Thank you, Akhilesh Krishna Prabhu. It's a wonderful class. Thank you so much. The devotees, anything that before we go to the next program, you have any comments or any questions? Anything would like to add? Any realizations? Okay, okay. Seems like everybody is very well convinced about the 10th verse of Nectar of Instruction. It's very powerful verse. This is the real instructions. We all should take it in our heart, anywhere else, just in the heart. And tie up the.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji,
Go
I have
ahead.
one question.
Yes, yes, please go.
Uh, Yogis, basically, they don't do any devotional service at all. They don't learn anything about devotional service at all.
I'm sorry, Prabhuji. Is it just me?
Jnanis, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, I,
Jnanis, they
I
just,
couldn't understand.
no, Jnanis, when they have so much knowledge, which they have this theoretical knowledge. So they don't have any knowledge on how to do devotional service. They don't attempt to get the jnana of how to do devotional service to the God, or they don't do they don't read about Lord Krishna itself.
Sorry, Prabhuji, I'm having hard time hearing you.
Okay. So,
What's your question, Broji?
no, the question is like, Jnanis, right? Jnanis, do they read about devotional service at all or not? Is they what kind of gyan they get? What kind of gyan they read? What kind of knowledge they attempt to read
Hmm.
when they're
So, Prabhuji, Gyanis are of different categories. There can be a Gyani who is uh, just engaged in the study of science, the material science. There can be somebody who is in the study of Vedanta Sutra, but doesn't accept Supreme Personality of Godhead. There can be somebody who is Jnani but is on the path of serving demigods. And then there are Jnanis who are who understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And that's what Bhagavad Gita says. And such Jnanis are Sudurlabha. They are very rare to find. So, yeah. Does that make sense, Prabhuji?
yeah, Prabhuji. So it means they never attempt to read about devotional service, how to perform devotional service. They never are interested to have to know that knowledge also, right? What is devotional service? How do I have to do devotional service? And as you said, they may be having devotional service to do about demigods, not about
Yeah.
Supreme Personality.
Yeah. Sometimes, the Prabhuji, we have to understand that this material body and material nature is very strong. Sometimes, even if all the evidence is present, our false ego or the attachment is so strong that it's very difficult for us to take up that fact, even if it is right there in because Krishna is there in Bhagavad Gita very clearly saying, you know, that leave everything and surrender unto me. But somebody will come and take a different interpretation of that. I see that Amritanand Prabhu has raised his hand. Prabhuji, do you want to say something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please accept humble obeisance, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for a nice class, Prabhu. I just wanted to share on this point of Krishna and Radharani. You know, what is it there in Radharani and why Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So, in reading Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, it's either chapter 10, 11, or 12. In one of the purports, Prabhupada has mentioned that, Krishna is omniscient. He knows everything. So how come he doesn't know what is it in Radha Rani, and what is the bhava she has, that he needs to come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? So there Prabhupada has explained that, yes, Krishna knows everything, but to establish the supreme position of Radharani as a devotee, he undergoes this. So that was what I thought I'd share with you and all the other devotees on the point of Krishna wanting to understand Radharani mood and bhava.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Vimala Prabhu, does that make sense? What we said earlier?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Great.
Okay, thank you so much. So let's then go to our next segment of program. Let's sing the Damodar Ashtakam. Akhilesh Krishna Prabhu, would you like to sing the Damodar Ashtakam?
I can do that. Prabhu. Let me bring it up so that I don't.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, right there. Yeah.
So this is eighth.
Please.
You're starting from first, right? So we do call and response, Prabhuji.
Yes, call and response.
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले व्रजमानम्
Namahishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gogule Brajaman. Request everybody to unmute, please, so that everybody can sing along. It's a beautiful Kartik, and don't miss this
Yes.
opportunity.
यशोदाभियो लोकलाधवमानम् परामेष्टमत्यन्ततो दुतगोप्या
Yashoda Piyolukalavanam Parameshtamatyanda
Rudantam. Do we read the translation after that, Prabhuji, or we go to next verse?
Next verse, Prabhuji. After that,
We read at the last the translation.
Rudantam muhurnetram yugmam rajantam karambojayugmena satankanetram
मुहुर्नेत्रयुग्मं रजन्तं कराम्भोजनेन सात्सुनेत्रम्.
Prabhu, you need to scroll up.
Where did my screen? Moho swasakam patrirekakantha sthita graiva damodaram bhaktibadham iti dripsalilabhiranandakunde swaghosham nimajjantam akhyapayantam iti
Swaghosam nimajjantam akhyapayantam
तदीयेषितग्नेषु भक्तजितत्वं पुनः प्रेमतस्तं शतावृत्ति वन्दे
Kadishitaneshu bhaktajitatvam पुनः प्रेमतस्तं
संसावृतिवन्ते
संसावृतिवन्ते
वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षवदें वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं वरेशदपिह
वरं
वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षवदिं वा न चान्यं वृणेऽहं द्वेषादपीह
इदं ते वपुरनाथ गोपाल बालम् सदा मे मनस्याविरास्तं किमते
इदं
इदं ते वपुरनाथ गोपालबालं सदा मे मनसा विरास्तं किमन्ये
इदं ते मुखं बोधं अत्यन्तनीलय
इदं
स्निग्धरक्तशोभ्या
इदं
इदं ते मुखं भोजमत्यनीलय ऋतं कुन्तलैस्निग्धरक्तशकोप्या
सुशुम्बितं बिम्बरक्तधरं मे मनस्याभिरास्तं आलं लक्ष्यलाभे
मुहुश्चुम्बितं बिम्ब रक्ताधरं मे मनसाभिलाषं चलाभै
नमो देव दामोदरानन्त विष्णु प्रसीद प्रभो दुःखजलधिमग्न
नमो
नमो
देवदामोदरानन्त
देवदामोदरानन्तविष्णो
प्रसीद
प्रसीद
प्रभो
प्रभो
दुःखजातिमग्नम्
दुःखजालतिमग्नम्
कृपा दृष्टिवृष्यन्ति दीनं बतानु गृहाणे समामग्नं एतच्छदृश्या
कृपादृश्यन्ति
दृष्टिवेश्याति
दीनं
दीनं
पतालो
गृहाणे समामग्नं
मज्नं
यदि
दृश्य
अक्षिदृश्य
कुबेरात्मजौ भद्रमूर्तय दत्त्वा स्वयामोचितौ भक्तिभाजकृतौ च
कुबेरात्मजो
कुबेरात्मजौ
भद्रामूर्तयस्ता
स्वयामोचितौ भक्तिमजाकृता
भाजकृतौ
च
च
तथा प्रेम भक्तिं सखां मे प्रयच्छ न मोक्षे गृहो मे स्थितामुदरेह
तथा प्रेम भक्त
भक्तिं
स्वं
सखमे
प्रयत्नय
प्रयास्याम्
नमो
मोक्षे ग्रहोऽस्ति दामोदरेह
दामोदरेह
नमस्ते स्तु दाम्ने स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वस्य धाम्ने
नमस्ते स्तुदाम्ने
साम्ने
स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने
स्फुरदीप्तिदाम्ने
त्वदीयोदरायत
त्वदीयोदरायत
विश्वसदाम्ने
विश्वसदाम्ने
नमो राधिकायै त्वदीया प्रियायै नमो नन्तलीलायै देवाय तुभ्यम्
नमो
नमो
नमो राधिकायै
राधिकायै
त्वादिया
प्रियायै
प्रियायै
नमो
नमो
नन्तलीलायै
नन्तलीलाय
देवाय
देवाय
तुभ्यम्
तुभ्यम्
हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे हरे
हरे
हरे
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Hare
हरे
Krishna,
कृष्ण
Krishna
कृष्ण
Krishna,
कृष्ण हरे
Hare
हरे
Hare,
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama,
हरे
Hare
राम
Rama,
राम
Rama
राम
Rama,
राम Hare.
Jayo Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe. Jayo
Jaya Radha Damodar Radha Damodar Radhe.
Radhe.
Shri Radha Damodar ki
Jai.
Jai.
Radha Damodar ki jai.
Prabhupada.
Thank you, Akhilesh Krishna Prabhu. Dear devotees, please read the translation one by one. Please go ahead.
I can
To the Supreme Controller who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord, Shri Damodar, I offer my humble obeisance. Hare Krishna.
Mother's big pink stick. He cried and rubbed his eyes again and again. Two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful and his breathing quick. And as a mother Yasoda bound his belly with the ropes, he shivered in fright and his pearl necklace shook. To this Supreme Lord Sri Damodara, I offer my humble obeisance. Jai Ram, Sri Radha Damodar ki Jai.
Jai.
Those super
Those
excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drowned the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who are attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan in Vaikuntha, the Lord Rerin reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodara, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times.
O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart.
Jai Shri Radha Damodar ki
Jai.
fifth over.
O Lord, the cheeks of your blackish lotus face, which is encircled by locks of curling hair, have become reddened like bimba fruits due to Mother Yashoda's kisses. What more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain to my mind. Jai Radha Damodar.
Sixth over. Please go ahead.
Oh, unlimited Vishnu. Go ahead, Mataji, no problem.
Keep ready.
O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be placed upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow and am almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy on me, uplift me, and protect me with your nectarian vision. Sri Damodar Ji ki Jai. O
Seventh.
Lord, O Lord Damodara, in your form as a baby mother, Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Manigriva, and Nalkuvera, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. Shri
Jai.
Radha Damodar ki jai.
Eighth
Oh,
one.
oh Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastime.
Jai Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ji ki Jai. Thank you. So now let me go to the next segment, the Vrindavan Parikrama. Today we are going to visit the Parikrama, the Varshana Parikrama. Let me stop here and let me share. Everybody seeing the screen?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So let me share them.
The name Varshana is derived from the original name for this town, Vishobhanupura, capital of Mara. When Nanda Maharaj and his entourage were moving from Gokul to Nandagram, Vrishabhanu Maharaj was also relocating from Raval, where Srimati Radharani appeared, to Varshana, where she grew up. It's said that Shiv, Brahma, and Vishnu all desired residence in Vrajabhumi so they could render service to Krishna. Lord Shiva prayed to become a hill, and his wish was granted. He became Nandishwara Hill in Nandagram. Brahma and Vishnu then wanted a similar benediction, and in answer to their prayers, they were also allowed to appear in Vraj. The Padma Purana states that Lord Brahma incarnated as Varshana Hill, whose 4 white peaks, Managar, Mayuragar, Danagar, and Vilasgar, on whose peak stands the Ladali Lal temple, are manifestations of his 4 heads. Lord Vishnu appeared as the darker colored hill known as Vilasgar, which is to the east of the Brahma Hill. Other sources say Lord Vishnu incarnated in Braj as Govardhan Hill. The most important festival in this lively town of 5,000 inhabitants is Radhastami. On the 8th day of the bright half of the month of Bhadra, when Srimati Radharani's appearance is celebrated, the town attracts at least 100,000 of devotees who sing and dance and chant Srimati Radharani's glories throughout the night.
विषम विषय विष ज्वाल माल में विषम विषय विष ज्वाल माल में विविध ताप तापनि जुझरो विविध ताप तापनि जुझरो विविध ताप तापनि जुझरो राधे किशोरी दया करो श्यामा लाडली दया करो कबहुत करुणा करोगी श्यामा कबहुत करुणा करोगी श्यामा यही आस ते द्वार पर यही आस ते द्वार पर यही
Holi is another festival grandly celebrated in Barshana.
The golden rock of the Brahma Hill and the deep purple rock of the Vishnu Hill merge to form a steep, narrow passageway called Shakira Kor.
On one such day, lotus-eyed Sham stopped them. In order to pass, he told them, they would have to pay a tax in the form of some of their milk products. The girls adamantly refused and instead pushed their way forward. The cowherd boys pushed back. The gopis then pulled the boys' sikas. This tug of war lasted for some time. When Krishna saw his side was losing, he decided to forcibly extract the tax. He began to throw pebbles at the gopis' clay pots to break them, and his friends followed suit. As the milk products started to flow out of the holes the boys had made, the boys ran forward to drink them. The gopis tried to plug the holes with their hands, and they rebuked the boys with strong words. The gopis, however, ignored their frustration and simply threw more pebbles to make new holes from the side or behind.
As we come out on the other end of Sankari Kor, we come upon Chiksholigram, Chitrasaki's birthplace. This village, previously called Chitrashaligram, is now known as Chiksholi. Chitra is the fourth among the 8 principal gopis. Her bodily color is just like kumkuma. She wears a dress that resembles glass. She's 26 days younger than Sri Radha. She always remains absorbed in the ecstasy of love for Krishna. The name of her father is Chatura, who is the uncle of Suryamitra. Her mother's name is Charchika, and her husband's name is Pitara. According to Padma Purana, the nearby pond, Mayur Sarovara, was created by Chitrasaki. The Brihanaradiya Purana states that Chitrasaki was fond of dancing of peacocks, and they would gather around her and dance, and she would feed them. Just as Srimati Radharani is always surrounded by her 8 principal Sakis, so Barshana is surrounded by the Sakis' 8 villages. The route we follow on the Braj Mandala Parikrama covers 3 of them: Unchagaon, Sunharagram, which we've already visited, and now Chicholigram. Next we enter the beautifully forested area of Govardhana.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I think let's stop here. So we'll continue this tomorrow. I think it's already 8:31. So was it okay? Was it good?
Wonderful, Prabhuji. Felt like we were there. Thank you.
Especially Varshana. I think those.
It was beautiful.
Please visit Varshana. It's amazing. It's a beautiful place.
Prabhu, can we get that bhajan? That
Yeah, I'm also hearing first time, Proji. Let me try. I was thinking to get that. It's beautiful bhajan. Yes.
beautiful.
Wonderful. Yeah. Let me try to get that as well.
Thanks.
Okay.
Share on our group, Prabhuji, so that
Yes.
every.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Okay, so we'll conclude today's session then. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining today. And let's conclude. And we don't also reminder we have a book distribution call today about the Gita Jayanti. The Jayanti is coming up, so let's all try as much as we can, how we can show Srila Prabhupada. And as a reminder, tomorrow is Srila Prabhupada's disappearance day. There will not be any section, any evening sections on the Zoom, but we request everybody, please join at the temple. Okay, so tomorrow evening, 7 o'clock, we have Srila Prabhupada disappearance day celebration. Everybody, please join. And if you can make some items for the Srila Prabhupada, that's also nice. Offering Srila Prabhupada. The details, send it out. Sorry?
Like, what will be the agenda in the evening? Like, what
Same,
they will.
like, Arati, Pushpanjali, then verbal offering, then there will be offering for Srila Prabhupada for his break. Then after there is a Srila Prabhupada Arati, and then concludes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank
you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
All verses Srila Prabhupada.
Prabhuji, I was just going to say before you end this Bhagavad Gita class, the fact that, I know it's 8:31, but devotees may want, so some of them may want to drop off. So really, I just want to make my request that people, if the Gita Marathon is on, and if you have a requirement for any books, be it Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, or Nectar of Devotion, I mean, all the books we know what are out there, please do not hesitate to reach out, because this is a time, and we are all doing the Gita Marathon and want people to take it seriously. And also, if they have any requirements, any questions regarding books, please reach out. Myself or, Mr. Prabhu. And I'm requesting to everybody, people who, involved in other services, or, they cannot join our book distribution, but just, humbly folding my hands and requesting everybody to please engage in this service seriously. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad Pranam. Do you have a nectar of devotion in Gujarati language?
I think I might have it, Mother. You have to check.
Yeah, we should have. Yeah.
So just please keep me for one for me.
Sure. I will save it, Mataji. I mean, before Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah, anybody else? Let us know.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So, any specific agenda for today for Gita Jayanti?
Sir, Prabhuji, so nothing as such. I mean, definitely, we will. I was taking the inventory. We have books for Bhagavad Gita distribution, so that's out there. And then we have the list of devotees, the new devotees which had been coming to the temple. So if any volunteers who can call them and reach out to them, be good. I'm trying to call myself also as much as I can. But yeah, so we need more volunteers to reach out people and contact them, and try to engage ourselves in this service.
Probably let's make a team actually for that purpose. We are very good at calling out. Only by this week, let's make a team that who can pick up the phone calls and talk to them and see that, Bhagavad Gita, Gita Jayanti Marathon is coming. Can talk to them.
Yeah. I mean, even more, if anybody wants a box and they think they